What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Demos Gaming, and today we're going to be doing a little bit more 7 Days to Die modding. So last week specifically we looked at the append command and how to use that. Basically the append command will take an already existing line of code in the game like this here, and it will append it. It will add things to it, and that's specifically what you're trying to do. You're trying to add things with the append command. I actually have created two here. This is kind of what we did last week, and I'm adding it to the car group cars 02, and with this I actually changed this to do the armor cloth hat, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it to where you can find the armor cloth hat with the armor helmet light, you know, that little light on it, and 50% chance. The mod chance is 100%, so you're definitely going to find that mod on it, but it's only a 50% chance that you'll find it in this particular group here. So basically that's how the append command works. Last week we spent some time also setting up the whole thing, getting Notepad++ and all that kind of stuff. So today this video is going to be a little bit shorter, but we're going to be getting into how to use the set command, set XPath, and then we're also going to talk about how to make a comment or to comment out a specific line of code if you ever need to do that. So here we go. So as I mentioned before, this is an older mod that I had worked on before, and I already have the set XPath command in here and the syntax for it. I have a hard time remembering the syntax for these things, so I always like just kind of grabbing it and copy and pasting it and just changing some of the parameters. And I'm going to include this comment that I have here at the top in green. So we'll come over to our mod here, and I'm just going to put this up at the top. One thing I will mention, I'm putting these spaces in between them. Technically, you could actually do this if you wanted to, and it's not going to hurt anything. I just think it looks messy, so I actually like to have those spaces in between. And I also like these to be kind of on this line here and not all the way back at the beginning. It just looks weird. And you can either hit space to get it back there, or you can actually hit tab, and it will set it there as well. So anyway, first things first, let's actually take a look at this comment here. So basically what I said is more likely to find a grill in Grill's loot group. And that's exactly what it is. If you follow this all the way down, what the set XPath does is it will take an already existing line of code and it will change one of the parameters. This doesn't add anything, it changes things. So that's how you can kind of remember it. Append adds things, set changes something. So what I did is here specifically we'll find this. We'll find group grills. So what I'm going to do, this is the loot file for 7 Days to Die. I'm going to hit Control F and I'm going to hit Control V just to put that in there, and I'm going to hit Find All and Current Document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this, group grills, and basically the tool cooking grill, the loot probability template is set to very low. So say you find a grill behind a house or a grill out in front of, there's like a store in 7 Days to Die where you can find a bunch of grills. If you actually open a grill, you have a much higher chance to find rotting flesh or bones or coal, or you might find some charred meat. That's kind of a low chance, but it looks like finding grilled meat and a hunting knife is very low, and then you have a very low chance of finding a actual cooking grill. And I think that that's bullshit, because if you have a grill that's just sitting around, it's probably gonna have a grill, you know, a fucking grill in it, you know. It just kind of makes sense. So anyway, I put that in just like I said, so it'd be easier to actually find one. So I set the loot probability from very low to medium. So now, instead of being a very low chance to find this, now there's a medium chance of finding it. So better, you know, better chance. I think this makes it maybe 50% or something like that. So anyway, that's basically what I did. But what we're going to do is we're going to use the syntax here to do something a little bit different. So number one, first things first, I'm going to kind of type this out, and you can actually see how everything's in green now, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I'm going to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type a less than sign, exclamation point, dash, dash. So what I've done is I've started a comment. So everything below this now is in green. The reason it's in green is because now all of this information down here is what we like to call commented out. So what'll happen is at this point, because we've actually commented out the end of our statement here, of the loot statement, if I save this and go into the game, I'm just going to get a huge error, and it's going to say like, this wasn't able to load because it's real fucked up. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in my comment here, and I'm going to say what we're going to do today is we're going to make it to where you can find more stuff in cars. Okay, we're messing around with cars a little bit more, and then I'm going to end the comment by going dash dash and then a greater than sign. So now you can see everything is out of green, and the only section that's in green is here because I started my comment with that and then I ended my comment with this. Now, another way you could use this is, say for instance you tried testing this and you've tested it several times, there's an issue with it, you're not sure what the problem is, but this line of code is not working. Now, instead of deleting it, you can keep it, and what you can do is just take this here, okay? I'm just going to copy, and I'm going to paste it down there, and I'm going to get rid of this. So now what I've done is I've made it to where when the game loads up, you're not gonna, this line of code is not gonna show up at all. It's been commented out. So it's just a way of, like I said, instead of completely, getting rid of this, deleting it, you can keep it, but it's not gonna show up in the mod. Nothing's gonna happen with it. That's what they do in here for like holiday items. For instance, let's look up the Santa hat. Find all in current documents, and right now, because it's, as of doing this video, it's August, they have commented out the Santa hat, so probably in like November or something like that, they will go in, they'll do an update where they will actually get rid of this, and, get rid of this here, so that the Santa hat will show up in this particular group. So anyway, that's just one instance where they would use something like that. Another instance would be, like I said, if you have an issue with something and it's not working, then you would do this. So let's get rid of that. And actually, yeah, keep that space there, and then put that there, and then we're good to go. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to change this to affect the car itself. So we're going to kind of work our way down the line here. So set XPath. This is how you want the first part of it to look. Set XPath. Loot containers. That is correct. When you're messing around with loot, it's always going to start with this. It's going to, whatever your command is, and then your first / and then loot container. After that is where things are going to change. So in this case, we're actually going to change this to loot container. Now, what we can do is if we go all the way down to the bottom here and start looking for these ID numbers, car, I remember that is 19. So basically, you can see all of these start with the word loot container. They don't say loot containers because loot containers is all the way at the top. Loot containers, you can see it there. And then loot containers is all the way at the bottom. Okay, but we're not going to get that here. It's going to say loot container. So just, like, I know that sounds really specific, but you have to be really specific when you're doing these. So anyway, we're going to change this from loot group to loot container. Okay, and then it might say at name, but let's actually take a look. No, okay, so it's going to say at ID. So we're going to change where it says name here to at ID. And we're going to change the ID number from group grills to 19, okay? So now what we're saying so far, loot containers, okay, so we're affecting this file here, loot, and then we're getting into the loot container portion of it. And then the specific loot container that we want to make an adjustment to is loot container ID 19. Okay, now a lot of the rest of the stuff that's written here, we don't need it, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to backspace a lot of this out, and we're going to come all the way back to here, okay, where it says / and this is really important, / at. So at this point, we're not going to put another thing of brackets here. This is kind of where you're at the end of your set statement. Sometimes you'll have to have several of these where you have like loot containers, loot container ID 19, and then maybe you'd have something else after that to keep, getting further into like these blocks of code here. So anyway, in this case, we're going to do the / at, and now what we're trying to do is we want to make an adjustment to this parameter here. Sorry, specifically look at 19. Let me do that. We want to make an adjustment to this parameter here. So right now it's set 1, comma 2. So whenever you open a car, you are going to find either one item or you will find 2 items. Now I can also set this. I'm going to do this real quick and then change it right back immediately, but what I could do is I could set this from 1 to 4 if I wanted to. So what that means is when you open it, you have a random chance of finding anywhere from 1 to 4 items. So you'll open it up and maybe you'll find 1, maybe you'll find 2, maybe you'll find 3 or 4, okay? It's completely random. So I'm going to change that back to 2 and save it. Make sure that I'm not screwing anything up with the main file here. So what we'll do is we'll actually be generous with ourselves here. And I'm going to get rid of this completely, and I'm going to say at count, okay? So that's what we want. We want the count, okay? So we're messing around with ID 19. We're skipping over cars. We don't need to say name cars there. That's fine. We're going straight to count here. And we're going to change it. Okay, so anything that's in between this greater than sign and the less than sign there, that is what you are changing. So this is the thing that you're changing. All of this before it is just getting, giving the the system kind of like all the information it needs to know what you're trying to change. But in this case, we're going to change it from 2 to 4. So we're going to find anywhere from 2 to 4 items in the car every single time we open it up. Okay, so at this point, this should work in theory. I don't think that there's any other issues with the syntax here. I'm going to double check the syntax because I know that this works. So we've got the quotation mark there that goes right before this, and then yeah, /set. So okay, so this is good to go. So basically all that we've done is we've changed it to where instead of getting 1 to 2 items in a car, you will get 2 to 4 items. So let's hop into the game real quick and make sure that it works. All right, so we're in the exact same game that we were in last time, and I'm just going to fly around here real quick just to see if I can find a car and check it to make sure that this works as it should. Hopefully I don't get eaten by a zombie while I'm trying to do this. But now, okay, so this actually worked. We found 4 items in the car, so that worked out quite well. Let's try another one. I don't think that's a lootable car there. Maybe there's a lootable car over this way. Oh, that's funny. I always forget that that's in there like that. It took a minute to find an actual lootable car. Good God. Okay, so we're opening this one up, and we found 3 items. And actually, we ended up finding the padded hood with the helmet light mod and a mining helmet with the helmet light mod. So, okay, so that's definitely going to take some adjusting to kind of like make sure that we're not... we're not finding the helmets too easily. But here's another lootable car here. We'll just check and see how many things we get. So in that case, we actually got 5. So there might be... what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to check and see how the group cars thing works. Because it might be that whenever that loot group itself gets called, it will probably pull up like a count of either 1 or 2 or something like that. So let's actually hop out of the game and check that real quick. Right, okay, so because this group cars is set to a count of all, that's right, I forgot about that. What'll happen is it's going to attempt to pull something from Group Cars 01, Group Cars 02, and Group Cars 03. Now, because of the way that the loot probability templates are set and then the force probabilities are set, what will typically happen is it's only going to pull something from group cars, and then you have kind of a low chance with the force probability of it pulling something from here, and then a very low chance of it pulling something from here. That's why we ended up getting 5 on the one. So really, in this particular case, because of the way that we have this set up, you have the possibility of finding a lot of stuff just from opening up one car. So obviously, this can make... using mods like this can make the game really, really easy, but you can always make other adjustments to other things to kind of like, nerf certain things as well if you wanted to do that. So anyway, this I'm actually going to kind of make a quick adjustment to do that, and I'm actually going to turn that all the way down because I feel like right now it's like the probability of you finding something in a car is going to be really high, especially one of these things. So anyway, we'll just kind of save it as is right now. And so that's basically it. That is kind of a real basic way of how to use the set command in loot, specifically to change the count of something. But there are, of course, other ways that this can be used. Really, anywhere where you have a number of something, or, you know, the other way that I specifically used it was I wanted to change the probability of something. So, you know, specifically using this syntax here, you could actually change the probability. So what I'll go ahead and do, I will copy this in as well. So that there's a couple different examples and some different ways that you know, this particular set XPath command can be used. And then of course I will upload this to the Google Drive, so anyone who is watching this video can just go into the description and download this for yourself so that you have some of these examples, and then obviously you can do whatever the heck you want with them. Copy and paste them as many times as you want, make adjustments to different sections of the loot as you see fit, and just kind of use this as a learning tool to figure out how to make your own mods and do some other things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got some good information out of it. If you liked it, please give it a like, and if you enjoyed this kind of content, then absolutely explode that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. So on the next video, we may take a look at some other ways that we can make adjustments to loot, or we may look at a completely different 7 Days to Die file entirely. But I will catch up with you all in the next video. Peace.